Well, I have good news and I have bad news. I can't ask you which you'd rather hear first, but when people do ask me that question, I choose to hear the good over the bad, meaning I prefer to make sure that I have a little bit of something nice going into something that might not be quite so pleasant. So that said, I'm going to give you my good news. It took me a little longer to get back to my next video since seeing Amanda, and it's been about 2 weeks now, close to 2 weeks, and in the first 5 days of following my meal planning the way Amanda had outlined for me, making sure that I'm getting the right portions and servings of all of my food groups, and making sure that I eat every 4 hours, making sure that I drink lots of water, and whenever I do have those snacks, making sure that I am eating a protein with whatever, either to just consume a protein or to make sure if it's fruit, that I'm also including a protein. So I've been doing everything that she tells me to do. So the good news with that is after just 5 days, I lost 4 pounds. And I have not increased my exercise level. My feeling of toxicity has I still have some of that feeling like my cells are toxic, but not like I had prior to starting this diet, especially again because of that weekend that I binged on bad things. So I feel myself doing very well. She told me that I was going to go through some detox. I didn't experience that initially. In fact, after 5 days, besides losing the weight, I was literally driving my family crazy because normally I'm very quiet. I eat and I'm reserved. I rest or I read or I'm literally just quiet. Well, after the 5th day of my diet, we had a celebration up in Green Bay. We live in the Milwaukee area. That's an hour-and-a-half drive. Normally, by the time we came home, which was about 8:30 at night, I would be winding down and getting ready for going to bed. Well, I drove my family absolutely bonkers. I chatted and talked nonstop for that hour and a half. They were beginning to wish that I maybe didn't start this diet after that car ride, which of course is the opposite. They're very excited to see that I'm finally waking up. My brain fog is gone. I can focus more. I have energy. I'm smiling more. I'm happier. I'm not in distress. I did bring my own food for this party that we went to. I couldn't eat a single thing. I said there was some bad news to this, and that's a piece to my bad news. I could not literally eat one single thing that was served at that party. There wasn't any, I can only have certain fruits. There wasn't any fruit that I could have. There wasn't any salads that didn't have some kind of dairy product in it or a vegetable that I couldn't have. And I knew that going in. And again, I've said I'm in this for the long haul here. So I'm gonna, what better time than ever than to just jump in and get going with this. So I was prepared. I brought my seltzer waters with the flavoring that I can drink. And I had a great time. It wasn't about food. It was about the company and celebration. So I had a wonderful time, and I chatted about it the whole ride home. I did not fall asleep until almost 10:30, 11 o'clock that night, where normally I'm in bed. I'm snoozing right after dinner, and then I'm kind of just, moping around until bedtime, and then I fall right to sleep. So my energy level is definitely up. So part of the bad news was it's going to be difficult to go to parties and celebrations. I'm going to have to spend a lot more time preparing for what I'm going to eat and not just what I'm sending along and potlucking for the rest of my family to be able to eat. I'm going to have to do two things: the potluck contribution and my own meal. So that's one bad news. The other was after about 10 days into my diet, I started to break out pretty badly. I actually was getting acne, mostly in the triangle area of my face, and that isn't something that I have rosacea, which is little tiny bumps on my forehead that get itchy sometimes, and redness on my nose, my cheeks, my chin, but not big acne. And so that was difficult to deal with, but it only lasted probably about 4 days. And part of it, I think, was because not just the detoxing and flushing that out of my system, all this toxic stuff out of my system, but I think part of it is also trying to find new hygiene products. And I'm using the same cleanser only because I haven't yet found a cleanser that doesn't have at least 1, 2, or 3 ingredients that I shouldn't have. So I'm still working on that. My Amanda's trying to help me with that. I am still using my same shampoo and conditioner for the exact same reasons, because what I do use is really, it's healthy and natural, and it's really actually very good for you, for your hair. But what I did change was I wasn't using any kind of moisturizer, because all the moisturizers that I had have aloe in it, and so I think it's just because the change of how I was cleaning my skin, and I think that's part of it besides the detoxing part of it. I ended up finding that just using a little bit of this coconut oil on my face actually, like I said, once I started using that, my skin started to clear up. So either the detoxing was, finally getting better, or I found something to help with the change in my normal routine for my skincare. The other and the biggest bad news is I'm extremely overwhelmed, and I'm just going to put that out there and be honest about it. It is incredibly difficult to start, trying to literally, I can spend hours just sitting down with my sheet and writing down my protein amounts and, checking off, okay, I got my 4 proteins, I got my 1 legume, which is only half a cup of like a bean, or lentils, the root vegetables. She gave me a sheet that, so root vegetable isn't something that I would really want to eat every day, but she gave me a conversion sheet as well. So if I'm going to eat fewer root vegetables, I can have X amount of extra grain and fruit and that kind of thing. Maybe you're not a meat eater. I am, but there are some days that I choose not to have meat, because even though I'm a meat eater, I know it's not healthy to eat that all the time frequently, so I don't want to eat meat every day either. But I can replace that with the legumes or nuts and different, grains and whatnot. I don't think grains, I don't remember. I should have my sheet here with me for you. But in any event, so trying to figure out, okay, I have my 4, I only have 3 proteins. I need to try to throw another protein in here. I can only have 2 fruits. I like a lot of fruit. I can, only have, the only thing I can have endless amounts of is the category 1 vegetable, which is, again, for other people it could be carrots. I can't have carrots, but like your celery and your leafy greens and those, all the typical vegetables that aren't just a root vegetable. So I'm overwhelmed. I literally, like I said, can take hours to do a meal plan just for one day, and remembering that what I eat today she recommends that I don't eat for 2 to 3 days down the road. So she has given me the approval to do it every 2 days, just because I have such a little amount of food that I can eat, that I really want to stick to it and do the right thing. So I'm really trying to make sure, and I've got plenty enough choices. It's just a matter of planning it. And I'm not used to meal planning. I'm used to opening up my refrigerator and, okay, I get a little bit this, a little bit left over of this, throwing it all together in a casserole or an omelet or whatever. And I can't do that anymore. So it's just going to be a matter of time and discipline and just practice. And I'm, to get myself into the routine of this all. I will tell you that already in just a couple of weeks, I've actually got, how many servings of each food category I can have. I haven't, that conversion thing, like I just might have messed it up a little bit about what you can have if you're not going to eat as many proteins. I don't have that down pat yet, but I'm getting there. So, I know I just have to hang in there, just keep going with this. The weight's coming off. So I told you in just 5 days, I had, a really good weight loss. But actually after just in 10 days, I actually had 6 pounds. I lost 6 pounds in 10 days. And not because I'm starving myself. It literally, I think, is just everything flushing out. I'm more regular. I'm less bloated. My skin is getting better again. Like I said, I've got more energy. So, you know what? I'm not going to deny the fact that this could all just be in my head. That, I've got this, I've put it out there that this is going to work, and I'm, enthusiastic about it, and I'm, I'm going to make this work no matter what, and I'm okay with that. If this truly doesn't have anything to do with my diet, and it has everything to do with my attitude and the way I'm thinking about it, it's working. And I tell my patients all the time, better is better. And I got to tell you, I am better. I am actually a lot better. I feel like I can't tell enough people about this whole concept. Time will tell. If it's all in my head and a crisis happens and I plummet again, then I'm going to know that it's all in my head. If I just keep rolling with this, and at the very least, I'm happy if it stays right where it is. I have so much more energy, motivation, and less bloating. I mean, everything. I just feel so much better. Better's better. I'm okay if it stays right where it is, but if it keeps getting better or it maintains itself, then I know it's not just all in my head, because my life it's crazy. I have a blended family. We have 7 children as a blended family. We have 5 grandchildren. I'm the youngest of 6 siblings, 7 siblings, 6 that are living. I got a lot. I'm a registered nurse. I've got a lot going. So I am okay with what's going on here. I have a lot more pros to having chosen to do this than cons. The acne's going away. And I'll get better with this meal planning thing. I know I will. And I just have to keep pushing forward and moving on. And I also have another saying: life is easy, it's just hard to do it. Some of my patients get very frustrated with me when I say that until I explain to them what I mean. So what that means is we know what we need to do. Our gut always tells us, our intuition always tells us what we need to do. We need to follow that diet in order to feel better, but the consequences for me right now is having to do this meal planning. So am I going to do it or am I not going to do it? We know when we should change jobs. We know when we should get out of a relationship. The reason why we don't make those choices is because with every choice, there's pros and cons. There's sometimes consequences. So in this case, my consequence of choosing to do this meal planning is time. I'm going to have less time. Life is easy if I follow what I know I need to do and start finding the positives in what I'm doing and not get, pushed down or feeling deflated by the fact that, it's just hard to do what I know is right for me. So it's not, nobody ever said life was easy, but it can be less stressful if we listen to our intuitions and listen to what we know is best for us to do when we're about to. I've had cravings, I will say that. Now I've had no sugar for weeks, but I have had cravings for that. And I practice what I teach when my patients are telling me that they're craving, they're diabetic and they're craving the sugars as well. Alcoholic and they're craving the alcohol, drugs, craving all of those things. An addiction is an addiction is an addiction. Mine is sugar, and it's always been sugar. It used to be caffeine, but I've long since cancer, I've cut all that down. So we all have addictions that work the same areas in our brain. And if we just learn that if we change our mindset when the cravings start, we start getting busy, start singing. I always say to sing. It's hard to concentrate on I want to eat that candy bar if you're singing, because your brain doesn't, you're using two different parts of your brain. So I am getting a full force practice what you teach. So I'm going to get back to you after I see Amanda again. I had told you I'm going to see her 3 weeks from the day that she gave me my meal plan. And I will let you know from there how much more weight, because I'm going to lose some more. And I'll let you know what new stuff I've learned. And my body composition. She'll redo all my numbers for me again. So I'll let you know how I did with that. So have a great rest of your day, and I will see you after I talk and see Amanda.